So, folks, we had the idea floated not that long ago that we should cover additional brain rot channels that, well, might exist outside of the mainstream. And one person, after we covered the spirit science video last time, suggested that we check out a channel titled Hyperborean Knowledge. And, I went and took a look, and sure enough, there is some incredible brain rot present. And I think we're just gonna we're gonna dip our toes in here on a video titled Giants and Cryptids Are Real. Join me as we dive into the deep end of crazy.
What if the stories of orcs, trolls, giants, goblins, and dwarves were actually real? That these were given to us by our ancestors because they actually dealt with these entities. And we see a lot of motifs in the same vein show up over and over again. One of these motifs is being overwhelmed by outside forces, hordes of humanoid but not human entities. Another motif is the cannibalistic giant.
That's right, folks. Goblins, giants, real. They walk among us.
And another is the stealing of a maiden by one of these entities. Now, if we go to the Norse myths, we have the Asgardians fighting off the Jotun. And the Jotun are often depicted as more primitive, with cruder weaponry than the advanced Aesir gods. We see this again in Hesiod's Theogony when the Olympians fight the Titans. The Titans are usually depicted as being more primitive, not wielding advanced weaponry. We see it.
That's right. What if mythology was literally real? A mythological literalist. Let's go.
With Jack and the Beanstalk, the giant wields a club. And when
this is what I'm always saying to you guys. I am always saying Jack and the Beanstalk is real. Okay? My family has passed down a handful of magic beans for generations. And I'm telling you guys, just let me plant them. Just let me plant the beans. I'll show you all my beanstalk, and we'll all go climb up and beat that giant to death. Like, I think if enough, it's kind of like, would you rather fight one giant duck or 100, duck-sized ducks? And we're in this scenario, we're the 100 duck-sized ducks. And we can kill that giant. I promise. We have the technology. We have the means. His golden goose will be ours.
Odysseus encounters a Cyclops. What is he wielding? A club. When the Tuatha De Danann fight the Fomorians are often depicted as being primitive in hordes wielding clubs. Even in a contemporary setting, something like Attack on Titan calls back to this genetic memory, especially.
Yeah, guys, whomst among us didn't watch Attack on Titan and think, yeah, that's my genetic memory tingling. Back when things were as they should be, with all of us eating ourselves around on little grappling hooks and fighting giants. Attack on Titan is a documentary, it's true.
In season 1, this feeling of being overwhelmed by outside hordes who are trying to eat you. Where does this come from? Well, if we go back, after the fall of Atlantis, but before the sons of Arius arised, we have the heroic age. Hesiod's heroic age that comes after the Bronze Age, but before the Iron Age. And this age was a time when these entities, these hybrids, these humanoids, but not quite human beings, were all around us, trying to kill us. And Cro-Magnon
Man, if this guy ever gets his hands on Assassin's Creed Odyssey, it's all over for us. It's all over. He's gonna blow the doors right off this conspiracy theory.
Had to fight them off constantly. And there seems to be two variations of this. The giant who had less numbers than we did, often living in caves. But they were cannibalistic, like Grendel. Grendel is a perfect example of this callback. Grendel trying to eat the Danes, okay? These cannibalistic giants keep showing up over and over again. What else do we have? The other motif would be the hordes. The horde.
Guys, Ultraman is about the one good giant, okay? It speaks to the time in our species history when we made a pact with the giant to fight for us. The original kaiju defender, okay? Grendel wasn't real. No. Grendel is real. You aren't listening closely enough, okay?
Lord of the Rings perfectly illustrates this feeling of the horde with the orcs.
Conan the Barbarian was a documentary, folks.
They're numerous, but they're primitive. They're not as advanced, but they're bloodthirsty, and they're probably trying to eat us as well. And so I think when Cro-Magnon Man was interacting with these entities.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Oh, shit. These figures represent the height compared to modern man of skeletons unearthed and documented in historical records. I guarantee you guys, there is not some 36-foot fucking skeleton somewhere proving the existence of giants. I do love the audacity of this image to just be like, yeah, no. These are all skeletons unearthed and documented in historical records. These are all real. We got these somewhere. We got a 25-footer in the back.
The giant humanoids who are being hidden from us from history, but
Carthaginians uncovered to this size, an equake
due to Earth's polluted atmosphere. Ultraman can only maintain his giant form for 2 minutes.
Exactly. Then he shrinks down to the size of a normal man. It's part of the pact. Carthaginians uncovered to this size an earthquake in Cimmerian Bosphorus. One more. Okay.
We know they exist. And now they've had to go more full disclosure.
What the fuck? I don't know how to react to this image. I'm not built for this. You know, the absolute bafflement I feel right now must be my genetic memory awakening to the existence of giants.
With the other types of humanoids that existed that weren't quite human, like Neanderthal, but Neanderthal is just one variation. There's way more, and there's more that they're hiding, more that are orc-like, more that are troll-like that they're not allowed to disclose because that would destroy the entire narrative of history. So there were all sorts of hybrids too. Neanderthal was breeding.
Wait, I'm sorry, that they're hiding?
But we know they exist. And now they've had to go more full.
Okay, so they've been hidden from us, but we know they exist. So there is a conspiracy to hide the existence of giants.
Disclosure with the other types of humanoids that existed that weren't quite human, like Neanderthal, but Neanderthal is just one variation. There's way more, and there's more that they're hiding, more.
Okay, so let's slow it down for a second. So basically, they are hiding the existence of giants, but they haven't been able to fully cover up the truth, and so they have had to confirm different varieties of humans like Neanderthals, which of course means that there are dwarves and giants and elves and whatnot. So, and they're all just being hidden from us. Where do the great old ones fit in with this nonsense? That's a great question, Megan Fox's giant boobs. And I don't know yet. We are going to have to figure it out. We are going to get to the bottom of this. I am very interested, for example, in who they are and why are they hiding giants? That's what I want to know. Oh shit, anime sidekick gal! You're so right. They might be giants. Was trying to tell us the entire time. The band was trying to tell us the entire time. Jack, you know who they are. That's true. I do know statistically who the they in every conspiracy theory is. I would like to be surprised, though. I would like it if it didn't just boil down to, triple parentheses, the Jews are manipulating the world to hide the existence of giants. But, you are correct. That is probably where this is going, because that's every conspiracy endpoint. Anti-Semitism. Oops, all anti-Semitism. So just wanted to drop in and say, based on today's ballot drops, I give it even odds 50% chance that we have a DD runoff in California.
What if I told you myths about big stupid things stronger than us were metaphors about dealing with big stupid things such as gestures broadly?
Well, no, Meghar, there's no possible way that human beings ever could have imagined things that were both big and stupid. It's impossible. No one's ever done that before. Human imagination isn't that supple and malleable. All right.
That are orc-like, more that are troll-like, that they're not allowed to disclose because that would destroy the entire narrative of history. So there were all sorts of hybrids too. Neanderthal was breeding with these orc entities with...
I just love that someone can just say that. There's no even attempt to prove it. There's no even attempted
Google debunkers.
There's just, of course Neanderthals were mating with orc entities. Of course.
Of course!
With all these other types of creatures, and it was just a cornucopia of humanoids running around in the heroic age. And that's what a lot of these motifs and a lot of these myths come from, is the heroic age and the heroic venture of our Cro-Magnon ancestors fighting off these entities and ultimately prevailing.
There's an awful lot of imagery from Conan the Barbarian. Is this somebody who just read Conan books and, as a joke, someone told him it was history? Is that basically what happened here?
Leading up to the Iron Age, or the Age of Man, which is what we live in now. Again, we have these memories because this is what we experience, this feeling of being overwhelmed.
What we have what memories? Exactly. The ability to imagine, hey, if a giant dude was trying to eat me, that'd be pretty scary, and I'd try and kill him right back. That's not a memory. That's just basic self-defense.
By the outside, by the
Conan Christ. There you go.
Uncanny Valley. The Uncanny Valley is a perfect example of what I'm talking about here, because it is this feeling of something that is humanoid, but not quite human. And why is it such a creepy feeling? Because we know in our DNA that whatever that is coming after us.
I knew this channel was just one multi-part documentary. All true and accurate.
What is this? Tales of Orcs and Humans, epic fantasy storytelling, where orcs are not mindless beasts, but warriors bound by honor, sacrifice, and destiny. Each episode is an original dark fantasy tale exploring the bond between orc and human through cinematic narration and immersive soundscapes. We redefine orc lore. Orc warriors carry scars of loyalty, forge alliances that shake kingdoms, and face choices no blade can solve. Every story is a sword and sorcery adventure driven by emotion and the beauty of fantasy worlds built on blood and heart. Every script is original fiction crafted from scratch. Each video goes through creative writing, cinematic editing, and sound design guided by human creativity. No shortcuts, just emotionally charged epic fantasy content. Hell yeah. You know what? This seems like a good channel where they're trying to salvage the good name of orcs. There does seem to be a lot of potentially AI generated images of orc women though. And so I'm starting to get a different vibe as I look more at this channel. Anyway.
Eat us. The trolls in Norway, often living in caves, often living under bridges, often waiting for people who
often waiting under bridges.
venture too far off the beating path so they can eat them. This motif pops up over and over again, and it seems to be the retelling of an ancient struggle. With Attack on Titan, something about that show really resonated with me. And I don't typically watch anime, but that show really illustrated that feeling of being enclosed, being overwhelmed, and fighting a struggle that seems like you can't win, but ultimately,
which of course can only be explained by giants that existed millions of years ago. There's no other way you could get that same feeling of being cornered and needing to fight out of desperation. There's nowhere else you could possibly find that other than in the existence of giants.
Prevailing struggle ethos pops up over and over again in our myths and our legends all over Eurasia, because that was what happened. There were entities out there who were trying to wipe us out. And
man, any kind of citation would be incredible. Any kind of citation. Any at all.
You know damn well this guy believes Eren Yeager did nothing wrong and was just a heroic good boy.
I haven't watched the end of Attack on Titan because I got distracted 8 years ago and stopped waiting for the finale, so I hope it was good, and sorry if it wasn't.
Eventually, we came out and prevailed. But now they really want to try to downplay this struggle of humanoids that happened. They want to say that it was nicer, it was friendlier.
Yeah, that's right. They want you to think history was nice and friendly.
That they were all eventually just holding hands and everybody just interbred, and then that's how modern humans
Oh, okay. Okay, wait. He's citing studies from the University of Trust Me, Bro. Yeah. Okay, this is also definitely an anti-race mixing thing, right? Like, they want us to believe we all interbred, and I'm just like, all of a sudden, I'm like, wait a minute. Wait, I think this guy might be a racist. I think he might be a racist, guys. Maybe.
Happened, but it was not like that at all. It was a massive struggle. It was a massive conflict. There were
yeah, we killed dragons. Dragons were real too.
Creatures eating each other. It wasn't just 1v1 either. Everybody was kind of going on a free-for-all of dominance, and Cro-Magnon man prevailed. And he prevailed.
Oh, I know I'm pause champing. It wasn't just one-on-one either. Of course not. We have war. Human beings have been doing a thing called war since forever. We organize together into large numbers of people to fight and kill each other. That's not... Where's this idea that all the fighting was done 1v1 duel style? Like they're fucking playing a game of Duel Monsters or Magic the Gathering. Wait, Magic the Gathering isn't even one-on-one, though it can be. I'm spiraling out of this.
Because of his ability to plan, to organize, to create, to have advanced technology that eventually would lead to metallurgy. And there is the Smith myth.
Smith myth. Let's go. Let's hear that Smith myth.
Again, is actually the oldest tale in the Indo-European world, is the Faustian Pact of learning metal. And then once we learn metal from this demon, we imprison the demon. It's very interesting. A motif that pops up again and again in fantasy art is a horde coming after a few lone survivors, and they're often triumphing over this horde in a...
Yeah, it's almost like, I don't know, some kind of power fantasy. It's almost like a lot of these early adventure fantasy stories were wish fulfillment and led to art that also fulfilled wishes. You know, this desire to be big and strong and powerful and to like be a big tough dude. Like, yeah, that sold a lot of copies of books.
Sort of pyramid of corpses, a pile of corpses, and they're standing victorious over this pile. And to me, that represents this victory that they had over the Horde. And it's just interesting that this exact...
I do have to say, this is Jordan Peterson after he's smoked like 3 or 4 blunts. This is indistinguishable from what Jordan Peterson would talk about. I guarantee you.
Exact same image pops up over and over again. It's not that much of a variation, but you see it.
Does he think Lord of the Rings was a documentary? I mean, he thinks orcs were real, so probably.
Countless times, this victorious hero over these humanoid creatures that are piled underneath, but also at the same time seem unrelenting. Like it was an unrelenting struggle for dominance that these heroes had in the heroic age, that they could not have their final victory until every last bit of the Horde was wiped out. Again, that is kind of what the theme of Attack on Titan is too, that they cannot...
Yeah, is he gonna pull up like the Doom poster and like make an argument that Doom is real too?
Not stop the war until they have their victory, because that motif just seems to be ingrained in some sort of
I enjoyed a good mug of Smith Myth. Hell yeah.
genetic memory, and it probably was the case. They probably had to fight tooth and nail until they were victorious and ushered in the Age of Man. And in the art, we also see the struggle against the giants. These giants are humanoid, but not quite human. They're often ugly. They're often primitive looking. They're...
Would you say the giants are often giant?
less well armed, sometimes completely unarmed, and yet they are trying to overwhelm us. They're trying to eat us. They're trying to take away our maidens. And you might say, well,
Help, a giant stole all my maidens. Help, help, it's not that I don't have any riz, it's that a giant stole my maiden. Guys, will you help me get my maiden back? My maidens are gone. They've been taken by the giants. Help, I'm being repressed.
this is ridiculous. How could there be orcs? How could there be giants? How could
All those damn Chad giants.
there be ogres? It just sounds too weird. It sounds too fantastical. But is it really? I mean, we have
Yes?
Homo habilis now. We know there was a hobbit-like humanoid. Why is it so far-fetched that there's a orc-like humanoid or something that...
Because you aren't basing it off of evidence. Your evidence is, I can imagine it, and that's not evidence. Being able to just imagine something doesn't mean it's real.
Of that maiden? Woke.
It's pronounced woke. The original woman. But like, I don't know. I can imagine a spaceship. That doesn't mean Earth was covered in spaceships 1,000,000 years ago. I can imagine 70 suns in the sky. That doesn't mean there are 70 suns in our solar system. And that secretly we come from a world where there were 70 suns. I can imagine that the Earth is hollow. That doesn't make it so. I can imagine that everyone is a robot. That doesn't make people robots. It just means I have an imagination. I can imagine a God-shaped hole.
resemble what we would think of as an orc or an ogre, something that, not necessarily have to be an
This
exact
is certainly maidenless behavior.
That's true. That is correct.
one-to-one as Tolkien's representation, but something that was hostile to us, that was not quite
Where the fuck are my pizza trees?
human, but walked on 2 legs. I think that is a massive aspect of our history that has been lost, that has been hidden, because it kind of goes against the prevailing narrative of, everybody just kind of teams up together and gets along in the end.
That's not the dominant narrative. What are you talking about? Survival isn't necessarily always copacetic.
I think if that actually came out of how brutal the struggle was, people would view the world differently. They would view the world that, there was a struggle in the past and there's a continuous struggle in the world. And if we want people to be more easygoing, like-minded.
I'm sorry, we're not even halfway through this. How? Like, are you going to start pulling out some citations? I would love that. I'm primed. I'm ready. I've got my Google debunking stick ready.
Google debunkers.
Happy-go-lucky.
Give me some citations to justify the Yakubian devils that roamed the earth.
We're going to frame history in a different way. We're going to frame history as a more community-oriented advancement rather than a cosmic struggle. And of course, academics and pseudo-academics are not going to like what I have to say about this because they view...
I'm sorry.
And of course, academics and pseudo-academics are not...
This guy is so fringe, he's also against pseudo-academics? Oh dear. Oh no, the hidden history of the human race. Oh god, guys. This guy is so far off the map, he might genuinely think that dreams are relevant citations. Is he not a pseudo-academic? He's so far off the map that even associating the word academic with anything, that's too academic for him.
Going to like what I have to say about this because they view history as established, they view archaeology as established, they view science as established, but it is continuously in flux. We are learning more things all the time, and the narratives of history are constantly changing. For some reason, human history keeps getting older. Cultures are becoming more and more advanced as we discover how people lived in previous eras. And of course, more and more different types of hominids are being discovered all the time. So I think it's only a matter of time before we discover these orcs, these goblins, these trolls, these giants,
I've got good news and bad news for you concerning Yakubian devils.
Oh god, so I'm looking at a summary of this book right now, Forbidden Archaeology, The Hidden History of the Human Race, published in 1993 by Michael A. Cremo and Richard L. Thompson. And Cremo identifies as a Vedic archaeologist because he believes his findings support the story of humanity described in the Vedas. Okay. That's so where we're getting this is in basically the creationism, but not from Christianity. Creationism from the Vedas. Okay.
Hobbits. Well, we've already found the hobbits, but the dwarves are next.
We found the hobbits, then we're going to find the dwarves, then we're going to uncover Isengard.
And it's going to come out that all these creatures were real, and we're just experiencing the memories of these creatures through our own myth.
Yeah, Harry and the Hendersons was a documentary, guys.
Even the motif of the damsel in distress, damsels being whisked away by some...
Yeah, women have never been whisked away by military forces before. It has to have been dragons and giants.
Type of creature, some type of hybrid, some type of dragon has been recently discovered having a basis in our own blood journey as Cro-Magnons. Look at what's going on with our so-called Neanderthal ancestors. Where does that come from? Where is it being driven from? Well, it's the maternal line, it turns out. All human Neanderthal ancestry has been given to us through the maternal line because it wasn't Cro-Magnon going out there whisking away Neanderthal women, turns out. Turns out it was the Neanderthal males stealing the Cro-Magnon woman, or perhaps...
Oh boy, we are in deep with some, like, we're very, very much leaning into the, like we're going into some like 1800s era racism. Like, we're measuring skull shapes, and we're also trying to say here that, like, not only look at the skull shapes, but also clearly the only way we could ever explain women and men between Neanderthals and Homo sapiens interbreeding. The only way we could explain it is if Neanderthals were giants.
Perhaps the Cro-Magnon women going off with the Neanderthal male, I mean, that's not out of the question either in certain cases, but it's, again, this motif of something other coming and stealing the women. And this was what happened in our history as a Cro-Magnon man emerged in the depths of the Hyperborean age, not the Hyperborean age. That was before. And that's probably what's going on with these modern day cryptid encounters with creatures like Bigfoot, creatures like the Yeti.
Aw, hell yeah, dog. Hell yeah. We all have that genetic memory from back when Yetis and Sasquatches and Big Feet were raiding our women. Of course, it all makes sense.
These are the hominid giants, the mythological beings that are still kicking around to this day, and very few in sparse numbers, or possibly not even really around.
Man, can you just like give me any kind of citation for like Sasquatch or Yeti, like any kind of like citation whatsoever for why you're like saying without even blinking that these things are real?
In the modern times, but were around maybe a few centuries ago or a century ago, having a little bit of remnants left until total modernity. But I fully believe that these sightings were real or have been real in the past.
Based on what?
And they, to me, just symbolize what our ancestors were talking about in terms of mythological beings, because it's just clear that there was more than meets the eye, and people love to cite all these ancient Greek philosophers and historians on their high-minded points about reality or their high-minded points about culture, but they tend to pick and choose. They pick and choose. Even biblical-minded people pick and choose. Well,
is this spirit science? No, this is Hyperborean knowledge.
Sure, we can take things from the Bible, we can take things from the Greco-Roman sources to extrapolate how we view society should be run, but we're going to...
Like, does he think that this worked like a camera? Like a painter, like, pulled up as this scene was playing out and just painted it as it was? Is that what he thinks happened here? The source's vibes? I mean, that's true.
I'll leave it at that. We're not going to accept their tales of the hybrids, of the mermen, of giants or cyclops. No, that wasn't real. You know, the Germanic tribes being highly moral and monogamous, we'll take that. But everything else they say...
What are you talking about? Who is saying these things? Who is they?
About mythology and history and hybrids, we're going to just throw that away in the dust. That was just them having a hallucination. It didn't matter. What really matters is their cultural analysis. But to me, it's like you either take it all from a source or you don't. If
I don't know how this is really complicated, but I'll try and break it down for those of you in case it's too like difficult a concept. Humans can be right about some things and wrong about other things. Humans can be correct on one set of things and incorrect on another set of things. For example, you can have a really great and like perfect recipe for a pumpkin pie. And that goes in the pile of things you're correct about. But that same person who has that great pumpkin pie recipe might also believe that they can fly by jumping off of tall buildings. And that goes in the pile of things they're incorrect about. So I don't know why it's difficult to acknowledge people in the past could be right about some things and wrong about other things. Because that's something we see clearly demonstrated in our current era. You just don't have his level of whimsy, that's true.
The Greco-Roman source is talking about demons, witches, and warlocks and goblins. Why is that wrong, but you're going to take them to a T on their cultural critiques? Shouldn't that mean they're discrediting themselves? Shouldn't that mean you shouldn't take anything they say? If they're talking about extremely oddball things like hybrids and cryptids, to me, I have no problem in taking it all.
The problem is when you're looking at first-hand accounts and sources, right? That can their information can usually be checked against the archaeological record in different ways, right? And when we're talking about what comports with the archaeological record and what does not, we have a lot of evidence for things like different historical battles that are recorded, right? By different historians. We do not have evidence of giants in the historical record. We do not have evidence of orcs or elves in the historical record. We don't have that. So that's part of the issue here. There is a lack of evidence on the existence of orcs, etc., 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 and there is a lot of evidence for other things that are corroborated in the historical record, regarded like from different historical sources. When they talk about some things, they are correct, and when they're talking about other things, they are incorrect, as far as we know. Now, as soon as that changes, I will be one of the first to tell you guys. Okay? I will be one of the first to tell you guys if there is archaeological evidence discovered of dragons, because that would be really, really cool. But that hasn't happened yet. So until there is more evidence to establish the existence of dragons, I'm not going to go around and be like, they are trying to hide the existence of dragons from you because they control the historical record.
Google debunkers.
Why not? It seems to be a trend that they're finding more and more of these creatures, finding more and more of these dural, mythical
Whereas Waldo, thank you for the $5 Canadian. I vote to add, I have no problem taking it all to the soundboard. That might be a really good one. That might be a really good one. Are the dragons bad? Indeed.
beings that, it's always framed that these things are, it's stupid to believe in these things. It's naive to believe in these things. And a lot of the Bigfoot crowd and a lot of the Yeti crowd, they seem to be, a lot of them don't have the best representation of somebody who would believe in these types of creatures. But
God, are those veins? Is that Sasquatch just incredibly vascular? What the hell?
it's not necessarily the case that means it's totally wrong and should be just completely dismissed. Very brilliant people who believe in these things throughout history. And why not take their word for it? For example, Herodotus. Everybody loves.
Why not take their word for it? Because people be wrong sometimes.
Log. Hyperborean Uga say giant make magnan. He name FOMO and orc. But FOMO from sea and orc from tribe. Also magnan make Hyperborean Uga without rubber from tree. Me think magnan make giant mistake.
Basilis, thank you for the $5 dono.
Herodotus, okay? The father of history. Everybody loves to quote him, to cite him when it comes to cultures in the past. But he spoke of monstrous beings in Libya. The dog-headed men, or headless men with their eyes on chests, horned asses, huge serpents, and
horned asses? So one could say they had some horny asses?
one-eyed creatures that fought griffins for gold. Of course, griffins being real as well.
Of course. Just offhandedly, of course, griffins being real as well. This really feels like it has to be a bit to me, but I'm really disturbed by the fact that it's not.
Spoke of the phoenix, flying serpents in Arabia. I believe him. Okay, I'm going to take his word for it. I don't think he is embellishing anything. He was very, very good and very, very accurate in his depictions of cultures around the world. Okay, you should read his book. It's astonishing how accurate he was in his assessment.
Hey, just out of curiosity, how do you know that Herodotus was so accurate? Is it because you can read what Herodotus wrote and then we have archaeological evidence that backs up what Herodotus wrote? Because that feels like the important part. It's the claim and then the verification of said claim, right? And not all of Herodotus's claims
This reminds
are
me of when Animal Planet
backed
presented
by evidence.
documentaries about dragons and mermaids as if they were real with no disclosure.
I mean, this reminds me of watching like creationist bullshit, like biology classes when I was in Sunday school. Okay, that's what this reminds me of. Also, I'm sorry, Ratramnus 850 AD. Do the dog-headed men have souls? Personally, I think the rat men, as they're rightfully called, do have souls, but a different kind of soul from a human being. And as we all know, when the ratmen die, their souls go down, down, down into the heart of the planet, and it is from thence that the immense heat of our planet rises. I'm sorry, I don't know what came over me. The spirit of Curtis Sliwa. Oh God. Wait, he's still alive. I don't know what that was.
Of the different cultures and their characteristics and what they were doing. And if you look back at it, he's like without modern technology, like, wow, this guy knew so much. I think he's right about the creatures in Libya. Okay. I think there was something going on there. I think he's right about the flying serpents in Arabia. And that goes into Lemuria, which we will talk about in a different...
Oh, fucking of course this guy is going into Lemuria. We're getting into some Golden Sun the Lost Age shenanigans.
Time. Pliny the Elder. Again, everyone loves Pliny the Elder. He spoke of unicorns. Okay. Manticores from India. A lion-bodied creature with a human face. Basilisks. The basilisk thing, to me, is very definitely... It doesn't even have to be mythological. It just has to be a giant snake.
What? Yeah, dog. For sure.
And there's lots of motifs about Indo-Europeans fighting the giant serpent, the giant snake. Okay, and the Pegasus. Again, it's just, to me, these guys are like...
Yeah, it's just to me, of course they were real. Based on nothing at all. Nothing at all. Nothing at all.
Like the pillars of history, and they're talking about...
Yeah, also it's very... Yeah, hypervisor, exactly. The Indo-European name drop. I think this guy might be borrowing from some Nazi esotericism here.
Unicorns and Pegasuses and basilisks. It's like, why would that not be taken into account? And if it is what they're talking about, why don't we just discredit them? Why are we saying, well, okay, I'm going to quote this guy who's talking about unicorns every time I can because I want to sound smart. But meantime, he's talking about unicorns and Pegasus all the time. And that's the thing to me.
Yeah, because, God, this guy really should have tried to cheat on more tests in school, right? Right, like, and I don't say that to condone cheating. I just, what I mean by this is like, what do kids who cheat on their tests do? They look at the tests of someone who's smarter than them, right? So if you look and copy the answers of the smartest kid in your class, sometimes they don't get 100% on the tests. Sometimes they're wrong about things because people can be wrong sometimes. Wants to tell him that the Indo-European refers to India? Not just Nazi esotericism, we're also getting H.P. Blavatsky's Hyperborea. Oh yeah, no, that too. Yes, you know, we're basically, look, okay, we need to have a serious conversation right now, okay? Because one of the things we need to all understand is that this guy exists in a very unique, in a very unique position, right? Which is that their jobs are going to be taken away from them by AI, right? This guy cannot survive without AI. Or, sorry, cannot survive with AI existing, right? It's just not possible. And I'm going to explain that to you real quick with this.
Holy shit, H. Jones, get the fuck out of here.
We need to go now. The deep state is scraping our signals. They're eating the babies. No time to explain.
Go where? It's 4 a.m. Nigga, what the fuck?
Antarctica.
Yeah, as you can see, the existence of this video puts a channel like Hyperborean Knowledge, or Hyperborean Knowledge rather, out of business. Like, right down to the on-the-nose Nazi imagery throughout. It has at least 7 different conspiracy theories within 1 minute. I mean, it's just concentrated Nazi esotericism. Like, it's just like ejecting that straight. It's Nazi crack. Exactly. It's Nazi crack. The problem is the kinds of people who are attracted to Nazi crack are going to opt for the short hits of it rather than the 20 plus minutes of it. And frankly, this guy is doing everything that video did, but much more slowly and less interestingly. You know? It's Nazi meth. I see what you did there.
To me, it's that these things will...
Yeah, this is organic Nazi crack, as opposed to the AI Nazi crack, which is synthetic, of course.
Be uncovered, that these things were real. And you could take it, okay, well, it's an archetypal creature. And yeah, I get that, and I accept that, and I think that's true on a level.
God, Nazis are just the dumbest motherfuckers.
And I don't dispute that, but I think if you really want to go the extra mile, which is what we do on this channel, we go the extra mile. We don't sum things up to just being purely archetypal. We don't sum things up being purely psychological. We take into account the metaphysical. We take into account Hyperborea being actually real and Atlantis being actually real.
Oh, hell yeah, brother. Hell yeah, Atlantis. It's real. It definitely wasn't just a hypothetical city to talk about society planning. No, it was literally real.
And the gods being actually real. Because I'm not afraid, and a lot of you have come to that conclusion too, and have followed me to that conclusion as to why are we so afraid to espouse these beliefs and to want to go that extra mile where so many other people who are more trying to frame themselves as academics or pseudo-academics, why are they so afraid to take the leap? Because they are essentially afraid to look foolish amongst, I don't know, other academics, or they want to break into that.
Yes, that's the case, isn't it? We're all the academics of the world, they actually know the truth about giants and orcs and elves. but they're all withholding the truth because they think it might make them look silly. We got them.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got them.
Field, or they want to be taken seriously in the modern world by modern people who have
like guys, when we talk about Nazis being anti-empiricist, right? When we talk about the Umberto Eco's 14 points of fascism, I think a lot of people get confused about what it means to reject empiricism, like rejecting like actual like facts and logic and rejecting like reality itself, right? This is what they replace reality with, because what it does is create a permission structure that sets in a position of primacy a heroic myth of self-sacrifice that essentially allows ideologically the death mentality of Nazism, where everyone is secretly the inheritor of heroism and everyone should sacrifice for the greater good of the country, up to and including your own life. Never, of course, the lives of the rich and the powerful, but the lives of the common folk, they're all up for grabs. Into the meat grinder with you, boys. And it also disarms the intellectual tools that would otherwise be able to show, like, no, guys, of course this is full-on horse shit. Like, of course it is. There's no evidence for this whatsoever. There aren't archaeological finds that back any of this up. This is all fabricated whole cloth. And, I know a lot of us are like, his evidence is trust me, bro. But, like, it's kind of a loyalty test, right? Like, it's a loyalty test. Are you more loyal to the cause, or are you more loyal to your eyes and ears? And if you can get people more loyal to the cause than to their eyes and ears, then you can get them to do anything. And once you've taken away the tools that would allow someone to critically think their way out of this complete nonsense argument of worldview, like, once you've taken those tools away, it's really hard to break out of, right? And there's also the element here where people are, like, once they're in. They don't want to look like a fool when they're leaving. So it creates a sense of buy-in, of course, but it also acts as like kind of a glue for the social political movement. But it also paints people who believe it as perpetual victims. You aren't incorrect. You are actually the victim of an entire global conspiracy to protect the real history that you know, and all academics secretly know, but they're not telling you what it is because they don't want to be embarrassed, and they don't want to experience any kind of retribution from them, right? Like, that's how this works. It's all just conspiro theory. Wow, I can't talk. Conspiro-slop theory. Because there's no, like, even cohesiveness within the conspiracy theory. It's just, yeah, sure, elves are real, and Grendel's real, and dwarves are real, and hobbits are real, and orcs are real, and gnomes are real, the fae folk are real, giants are real, cyclops are real, griffins are real, chimeras are real, Pegasus are real, unicorns real, it's all real, anything you can imagine, it's real, alright? That's it. That, like, there's no actual intellectual process behind it whatsoever. That's kind of where we're at. It's dangerous. Like, we do make fun of it, but I make fun of it in an attempt, hopefully well-guided attempt, to inoculate you guys from this shit. Because if you are just passively watching this and absorbing it, it is deadly for your health.
No actual sense of true.
Yeah, the basilisk, not real though, just a big snake.
History. And why does it matter to be taken seriously by modern people to begin with? Because modern people are fallen. Modern people for the most part, in general, I should say, are not as advanced as we used to be. And that's the traditionalist perspective, at least. So to me, it's very clear that we were surrounded by...
Yeah, a giant came and stole all the heat out of my coffee. That's why it's cold.
...these types of entities from these types of creatures, and that there was this struggle, there was this war, and of course it wasn't that just Cro-Magnon was just Team Cro-Magnon. Of course there was going to be factions even within factions of all these competing hominids and beings and creatures. But over time, they were hunted down. They were destroyed. They were taken away from this world. And that's also...
They were hunted down, destroyed, and taken away from this world. Did the aliens take them? I immediately regret saying that, because I feel like the second I press the play button, that is going to be what he intended to imply here.
So a motif, the monster hunter, hunting down these creatures, The Witcher, Van Helsing.
Yeah, exactly. There's no evidence of them existing because the aliens took them away. You broke the codes down, man.
These types of heroes who were employed in the past, and their job was to go out and find these beings. And
Van Helsing, real. Vampires, real. Underworld, real.
The remnants of these beings. Beowulf, for example, is a perfect example of this. He was hunting down the last of these trolls in Scandinavia, and that's why he got so much prestige. That's where he got his prestige buff from, was hunting.
Beowulf's not real. My guy.
Hunting down all these creatures in Scandinavia and killing them, okay? It's right there in the history. But again, it's too taboo to view it like that, or people just view you as being naive. But I think it's naive to not believe in things other than human beings as being intelligent, powerful. I think
Abraham Lincoln, vampire hunter, real. Exactly. A
lot of it is the hubris of humanism in general. Humanism stemming from the Enlightenment.
How am I supposed to interpret this image? Twilight, real. True. Abbott and Costello, Meet Frankenstein, also real.
Proposing that human beings are the most advanced creatures on Earth, that we're Darwinian, that we are the highest pinnacle that there has ever been, and things are becoming more and more complex over time, which to me...
Yeah, they're at a God conference, of course. Gotta play Assassin's Creed Origins to see the truth of reality.
Is false, because you can look at the past and things were more complex or just as complex, or human beings were superior in a lot of ways, especially even Cro-Magnon, if you look at his cranial capacity.
Oh my god, we're fucking doing skull shapes. We're doing this skull shapes shit. Oh god. We're doing skull shapes and like race realism. Let's go.
On average, higher than the average human today. So are we devolving or are we evolving? Well, the traditionalist perspective is that we are devolving.
What? We're devolving?
Over time. And sure, there's remnants, there's pockets, there's people who are getting better looking or getting taller.
What do you... That's not how evolution works, man!
Horace, I'm going to have to refer you to Robert's rules for this meeting. Set has the floor, and if you have an issue with what they're saying, you can't just summon a firehawk. Make a point of order.
God,
But maybe if they are even physically...
By the way, if you are joining DSA, learning Robert's Rules of Order would help you a lot, probably.
Becoming more aesthetic. It doesn't necessarily mean spiritually they're becoming more powerful, more advanced. I'm interested to know if any of you guys have had any...
Don't tell Gutsick Gibbon this exists. Oh, Gutsick would, like, die.
Experiences with some sort of cryptid or hybrid or mythological being. I know I've had a few, one for certain that I...
Tell us, what cryptid experience do you have? Also, does this mean Jinji Ito's holes that were made for each one of us? Is that real too? Does that speak to our genetic memory of going in perfectly human-sized holes? You know, because if so, I think it might imply the existence of something.
You have a God-shaped hole.
Believe I saw. Now, okay, my mind and my eyes could be playing tricks on me, but I know what I saw. I saw what I saw.
And what I saw was a giant frog holding a sparkler. It walked around and said, "Yeehaw!" and then stole my cowboy boots and ran off into the wilderness.
I'm not saying it happened for sure, but it seemed very real. And I definitely saw some sort of hybrid or some sort of goblin-like being crossing the street on a country road one time. And to me, it was just real. It seemed real because the way it moved, the way it shambled, it was bipedal clearly. I had to slow down, and it didn't seem bothered. It was so, I don't know. I think it was some sort of like ditch troll or ditch goblin. Like it.
Oh yeah, you know, your run-of-the-mill ditch troll. Couldn't have possibly been a bear. Well, guys, clearly what happened here is that this guy watched the movie Troll Hunter and then took a nighttime drive out in the countryside, okay? Which, if you haven't seen Troll Hunter, 10 out of 10 film. This guy just saw this and thought, oh, that's real. Look, they have a camera crew. It's actual found footage. Also, it's just a good movie. You guys should honestly, if you take anything away from this segment, you should go watch Troll Hunter. It's actually legitimately a good and fun movie. All right, it's one of my fave cult classics.
It was going into the ditch. It probably lived under the bridge. I don't know what happened there. I didn't.
Wait, was it near a ditch or a bridge? Get your story straight, man. We need to know. Is it a ditch troll or a bridge troll? Very different rules.
Asked it any questions. I just went on with my day because I didn't want any trouble with this creature, okay?
I didn't ask it any questions.
Do you have ditch troll problem? Finding the skulls of goblins and adventurers on your lawn? Discarded limbs clogging up your plumbing? We can help.
www.ditchwitch.com. Both. It was a bridge over a ditch. The rarest form of troll. A bitch troll.
Sure, maybe I didn't see it, but it looked real to me, okay? It looked real to me. Now, I'm sure some of you have some experiences, and I'm not going to discount it. I'm not going to discount it, especially people in Ireland and Iceland. This isn't even really taboo, okay? They still have the fairy folk. They still have the fairy trees. You don't mess around, okay? If anyone has any...
I'm sorry. I have to remark. People have changed. Alchemically altered.
Celtic grandmothers, like, you know, they told you,
God.
Don't mess around with the fairy folk. And so I'm going to leave it at that today. If you like the video.
I love that at the tail end of this, not only are we talking about giants, not only are we talking about goblins and orcs and elves. No. We're also fairies are also real, okay? Very, very important. Are you playing D&D? Unfortunately not. We're dealing with some weapons grade brain rot, okay? This is really the main takeaway, okay? The main takeaway from this is that everything portrayed in Troll 2, 100% accurate to reality.
You're late. I'm sorry we had a small mishap.
Here are the keys. Here are ours.
Have a nice stay at Mill Pond. And you in our city.
Still telling the same story, Josh?
Yeah, Josh. You little bastard.
Powers of evil are very strong here. I must leave.
You got Magic Grandpa. You got goblins, not trolls.
Goblins don't exist. Goblins don't exist.
And remember,
you can't piss on hospitality. I won't allow it.
Calm down, I'm sick!
they're eating her! And then they're going to eat me!
Hey. Oh my God!
So dizzy.
Kids with a sweet tooth like yours love ice cream.
Delicious. And to purify.
I order you for the sacred power of the magic stones.
Need help, Grandpa!
No!
I'm done being magic. Troll 2. Incredible stuff. Oh my God! All right. Anyway, that was not Hyperborean. Wait, no, it was Hyperborean Knowledge. I think we all feel a little bit stupider now, but hopefully you guys now hold a desire within your hearts to watch Troll Hunter and Troll 2. Both top-tier films in very different ways. This is the first time you've seen any of that. Oh, God. If you guys are unfamiliar with Troll 2, I highly, highly, highly recommend that you guys get a couple of friends together and watch Troll 2 together. You know, preferably with like some kind of alcoholic beverage or some kind of good bud, because Troll 2 is genuinely one of the funniest communal cinematic experiences you can have. It is absolute off the wall batshit from the moment it begins, and it's honestly incredible. Check it out. Okay? Anyway, if you got anything out of this segment, get organized, folks. Join your local Dems. Join your local DSA. Join Progressive Victory. Is it necessary to watch Troll 1? Absolutely not. They have nothing to do with each other, and Troll 2 has no trolls in it. It has goblins in it. There are no trolls. Anyway, if you need help joining your local Dems, if you need help joining your local DSA, we can help you do it. Join our Discord, reach out to Gamergy for help with DSA, reach out to Dragonfly for help with your local Dems. They have years of experience between the two of them. They can help you out. We want to get you involved. Go do it, okay? And you can also check out Progressive Victory, which will help plug you directly into different electoral outfits across the country to do door knocking, phone banking, text banking, all that good stuff. And a link for that should be down below in the description, so go check that out. And if you got anything out of this video, hit the like button, leave a comment. What most did you learn? What Hyperborean knowledge did you develop during this segment? Let me know in the comments, and hit the subscribe button on your way out. And also, folks, last, check out ImogeneOlivia.com. It is gender euphoric lingerie designed from the ground up for trans femmes. Also tested with cis men, cis women, non-binary folks. It is comfortable, sexy lingerie, and it's non-tucking. So go check it out, ImogeneOlivia.com, link down in the description, and let's keep on going.
Riverboat Jack is going to town. All the viewers gather round. Twitch and YouTube is where she streams. All that content is bursting the seams. Politics, gaming, and plenty more. Her sense of fashion you'll adore. So grab your stuff and hop aboard. We're going straight to Jack's Discord.